Hello, everyone. So today's topic is very straightforward. It's chemical property versus physical property. So before we get into the difference between chemical and physical property, let's first talk about what is a property. So again, what is property? A lot of people often think of the word property as something that you own. It's really not. Property is not something you own, but it's something that's you. So when they say property in science, they're not talking about something that you clearly own in terms of ownership. That means like you bought it, you have it, and so on. Property for us in science means it's you. Okay, it's the object itself. So property again, it's not something you own. It's actually it's deemed as characteristics, who or what certain things are made out of, or who or what certain things are truly. So characteristics is basically a description when it comes to science or chemistry. Now, getting back to what chemical property and physical property is. So, chemical property and physical property. Now, let me tell you the big difference between the two. So, physical property is just basically something you can tell. It's a characteristic. It's something that you can tell. Just the use of two things: your eyes and your hands. So, if it's something that you can literally see, if it's something that you can really feel, then it is deemed as a physical property. The opposite of all that would be chemical property. So let me just go ahead and go over some examples with you regarding each one. So we have four examples that's on the board, okay? And we want to know whether or not each one is chemical or physical property. Now the first one's called luster. So what is luster? Luster is just basically shininess. So how one is shiny, or an object is how shiny an object is. So that's what it is, right? So it's something that's. Can you tell whether one is shiny by just using your eyesight? That means just looking at an object. If the answer is yes, then that is a physical property. So luster is a physical property. Now, what about flammability? First of all, what is flammability? It's just basically where you take an object and you subject it into an open flame. Okay, now, is it something that you can literally just see or feel? The answer is no. In fact, when you're subjecting something into an open flame, again, an open flame, you are actually destroying or trying to destroy the object. If that's the case, then it's not something that you use your eyes and your hands with, but in reality, you're breaking down an object. So the opposite of physical property is chemical property. So therefore, flammability is chemical property because the fact that you cannot simply know whether one is flammable or not by simply looking at them or touching them. So this is a chemical property. Now, the third example is called toxic. So, can you tell whether one object is toxic by just looking at them or feeling for them or feeling the object itself? The answer is no. In fact, if you want to know whether one is toxic, you can either eat it, taste it, or even break it open. When you say break it open, what does that mean? It actually means that you're breaking it down. So when you're no longer using your eyesight and your sense of touch or feeling the object, then this type of property is called chemical property because it basically has to do with you breaking the object apart. Now, the last example we have is called hardness. So, can you tell whether an object is hard? Now, first, in science, what do we deem as hardness, or what when we speak of hardness, what are we talking about? Well, this board right here, it's extremely hard. Now, what does that mean for me? This table right here is extremely hard. Again, what does that mean for me? It just basically means that whatever these objects are made out of, they're clearly their molecules are so close to each other that they offer a huge resistance to pressure. Okay, so again, the molecules are so close to each other. That means they're so dense that they do offer a sort of resistance to certain things that you do, whether you apply pressure on them, just like what I'm doing, or tapping on them, and so forth. Okay, so again, um, hardness is something that we can actually deemed is a characteristic of an object that we can actually tell by simply using our hands. We're not breaking anything down, we're simply using our hands. So that means it is a physical property. So, ladies and gents, that is the difference between physical and chemical property. One, you can actually just use your eyes or a sense of sight and sense of touch, which is your hands. If you can do that, then it's physical property. If you have to go beyond that, then it's considered as chemical property. I do hope that you learned something today. If ever that you need more topics or you are somehow finding finding certain topics extremely hard or difficult, just email me at easyaaa101 and let me know which topic in science or even in math that you would like me to cover. I'll see you in the next video.